Welcome to dinner at the Round Table Podcast with DJ John Tovar, Nelly Nell, Chris Ryder, your source to knowledge. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Dinner at the Round Table.
GG, I am DJ John Tovar, Nelly Nell, Chris Ryder. We are Dinner at the Round Table Podcast, your source to knowledge. Monday, September 28th, 2020. Tonight's topic is Election 2020. What's going on, fellas?
Yeah, you already know, man. Really now in the building, man. Live from New York, like every Monday, 7:30 p.m. Election 2020, baby. Let's get it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, the first presidential debate is going to be tomorrow, September 29th, Tuesday.
That's going to be interesting to see.
Very interesting to watch. You definitely, I mean, I'm going to be definitely tuned into it. Definitely doing a lot of play-by-play commentary because, honestly, as I told you guys earlier, I think it's going to be very entertaining to actually watch those two gentlemen debate each other, knowing their history, knowing their background, and what they've been saying, you know, towards each other for the past, I guess, for the past 6 months after, Biden has been, selected as the, Democratic candidate to go against Donald Trump. But what's your take on that?
Well, I mean, honestly, I think that Joe Biden is a moron. I don't know why he's representing the Democratic Party. Donald Trump is gonna smoke him, bro. Donald Trump is very good at debates. He's very good at picking your negative points, and basically he's a bully, bro. We saw it with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton couldn't handle him. This is what Donald Trump does. He likes to show off. He likes to expose people. He likes to basically bully you when he talks to you, and I don't think Biden has the balls or even the type of mentality to deal with that.
I mean, that's the mind of a Gemini right there. That's what they do. They play with your brain and your mind to, mess with your brain and play mind games all day. That's what Donald Trump does. He plays mind games all day. He plays to the crowd where he's at.
Yeah.
If he's at a fucking debate with like a bunch of racist motherfuckers, he's gonna say shit to rile them up. And I think that's, to me, what's the biggest thing that people get pissed off at with Donald Trump is that, he doesn't like put the kibosh on that. He just like plays to it. And mainstream media, they take those quotes and they take those things and they vilify him and make him into a big villain. And instead of people really doing their research and questioning things that mainstream media is doing, they don't do so.
Yeah, like the mainstream media, for a fact, and I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a supporter for either party.
Never mind.
But I will say this: given my education and my wits, right, my knowledge, Trump is definitely better suited to continue to be president than we putting Biden into office. That's hands down guarantee. Biden's had multiple brain surgeries. Mentally, he's not fit. He has dementia. You can tell when he does interviews, he forgets like certain things that his team has given him to talk about. Come on, you want somebody like that running your country? Not really. But at the end of the day, presidents are controlled by their party and a group of people, advisors, right? So I guess he could just, if they put him there because they were like probably like, okay, if he does get into office, we're gonna be basically showing him the ropes anyway. So we just need him to be there as a face, right? I don't know, man. I just don't feel good about Joe Biden, man. And Trump, he's the type that you could bring something intellectual to him about something that he fucked up on. Oh, you haven't paid taxes in 10 years. So what? You was picking your nose in the last interview you did. That's the type of dude that and then everybody forgets about the 10 years of taxes he didn't pay, and everybody's focused on like, oh, you heard what Trump said? He fucking told this guy that he was picking his nose in the last interview. So Donald Trump is like, you ever seen those battles, like those rap battles, those big rap battles where each rapper is going on each other's throat? They're talking about personal stuff. Oh, look, you're wearing the hat to the side, but I don't fit you. You got tight jeans, this time. That's how Trump does. Trump attacks you like he disses your whole persona, and that's why he's gonna win. He's gonna win. No, he's gonna win for two reasons. Biden is an idiot. He's not stable mentally. People know what the Democratic Party be doing. They be lying to
The
to
worst.
blacks and Latinos. They lie to us because they
Sure.
know that traditionally we usually vote for them. So they continue to lie to us. They don't fix anything. Um, and in the blue states, the mainstream media doesn't play the role of showing both sides. They only show the Democratic side, right? And Trump, he's too savvy for Biden. Honestly, it's like I don't know, man. It's like it's like the Yankees versus the Pirates, like something like that. Like if you want to put it in sports terminologies.
No, I get it. I mean, let me just chime in on this right now. First of all, Trump definitely has a way to really get under your skin. He does. He definitely knows how to really pick the points, some things that definitely could really irritate you. And people make the argument as far as like Joe Biden, is he physically qualified to be the U.S. president, knowing his medical history? So definitely, I definitely understand that the whole perspective about it. But at the same time, though, Donald Trump, man, I'm just still mind boggled to this day. This man is still the U.S. president. And to even know that this man may possibly be reelected, kind of like mind boggles me even more. And to know that they put Joe Biden against him as the primary candidate to actually run up against him should raise a lot of questions as far as like this political system itself. Why, people that were, running for that presidency were not really put in position to really go against Trump, knowing their ideas, knowing what they're actually trying to stand for. But yet you have a man, Joe Biden, as I said earlier, that, saying has some physical, medical conditions that, you may want to question, but it should raise some questions why this man is going against Trump. You know what I'm saying? So this is things that I always say that we have to question everything. And to know that we still, running under a two major political system, as far as like, the Republicans versus the Democrat, that should be an eye opener. Why we still have this system that we still have to rely on these two major political systems that, are going to really decide who's going to be the United States president. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's my whole take on that, to begin with, because again, Donald Trump, again, though, man, honestly, he knows how to really speak as far as like trying to get under people's skin, but he doesn't know what the hell he's doing when it comes to like really, catering to the population of this country. And I mean, you guys could definitely chime in more, but
I mean,
that's my take on it,
why
at this moment.
why do you feel? I mean, what are your key points that make you feel like that towards Donald Trump? Like, I don't. I mean,
He's a
what has he
reality
done?
star. Like, that's just evident. Like, I mean, it's like you can't even lie about that. You got to be this, intellectually honest with yourself to even say that this man, has been involved in government, is involved in like trying to change the community, and been involved about really trying to change situations in society. Like to even try to make an argument about that, you know what I mean? Like it's just like you being, intellectually dishonest. You know what I'm saying? So again, though, we got a person in office, right? The highest position in the office in this country, in a position that has no background as far as trying to know how to really, when it comes to like, politics, communities, when it comes to like populations, how we combat issues, you got to question that.
But that's one of the reasons, partly, and why he was selected, because people are tired of having politicians in office. Why don't we have why we have to have career politicians in office? Why can't we have engineers, doctors, businessmen that actually know what to do? You know what I mean? Like politicians are just there to speak a theory. They don't really know about day-to-day activity, bro. That's the reason why he got in there, because people were tired of having your traditional politician go there, say some nice fancy words, go in the office and not do shit. Because let's be real, bro. Obama's Obama, and I love Obama because he's a humble dude, whatever. But he ain't do shit, bro. Obama didn't do shit. He was a very well-spoken guy, had his little vocabulary. He had a law background. He knew how to speak. And honestly, he did a lot of shit that was not good. So we go based off of that. Your traditional politician does not do much So this is the reason
That's
why people were like, you know what, let's get somebody into office who understands business, because the United States is a business. The United States is a corporation as a whole. And I get what you're saying, Jay, about the local communities and all that. But you know what? Our president is there not to do that. The president is there to affect federal policies, not to affect local policies. That's why we have our local politicians for that, our mayors, our governors, and stuff like that. But I will say this though, it is odd, like you said, that the Democratic Party, knowing how savvy Trump is and how hard it's going to be for them to beat him, why would they put up somebody so incompetent like Joe Biden to run against him? That makes no sense to me. And with that, I do agree with you. That's so they basically set up Biden for failure, basically, and they set themselves up for failure. You know, tell me they didn't have nobody else to represent the Democratic Party.
but you know,
I like it. I know Chris, I want to say.
but you know, that's what you know. You hit the nail on the head right there. You know, the whole main reason why people are so upset about Trump is that Trump is not a politician. He doesn't speak like one. You know, when he gets up there and he gets antagonized by the media, he doesn't have the freaking capacity and the patience to sit there and answer stupid questions all the time. That's why he attacks, you know, media personalities and all that. He's not a politician, and I think that's what people forget. He's not gonna sit there and talk nice and, you know, make sure everything's okay. He's not gonna do that. He's not trained in that aspect. Now, I want to say this: when Trump was first president, I swear to God, everybody felt like this country was gonna implode. And honestly, before the freaking pandemic happened, the country was on the up and up. The country was destroyed. The country was actually on the up and up. So his presidency hasn't been a disaster. And you have to look at what he's done. And that's the thing that corporate media doesn't do, is they don't show you what he's done. They only pinpoint what they want you to see, what they want you to hear, to make him look like he's a villain.
Yeah,
Now,
exactly.
I'm not a Trump supporter, I'm not a Trump fan, but all I've seen was the negative aspects, and I was like, oh, the Trump's a piece of shit, Trump's this, Trump's that. And then a person that's very close to me started pointing out different things to me. It's like, yo, Chris, this is not the truth. This is what's been happening. It's been changing my perception of the man. And people, they tend to just listen to liberal media. They just want to, oh, he's evil, he's evil, he's evil, he's evil, he's evil, he's evil. But they're not seeing what he's done. And I'll pull up an article that's very important.
Well, before you even pull that up, just check out how unemployment for Black Latinos is down compared to how where the previous years, since Trump has been in office, more jobs are available. So we got to take a look at the real statistics and not go off about like how you feel personally about somebody or what the mainstream media is saying, like you said.
How many times have you guys seen sports figures, right? They'll be talking and having a conversation, and all of a sudden they'll say something. I think like Saquon Barkley recently, you know, they were saying how he was like Tinky Barber came at him. And Saquon Barkley was, you know, playing the nice role. And then all of a sudden he started saying, well, you know, I'm not paying attention to this. And he started getting rattled. Media honed in on that point to make him look like, oh, he's not as squeaky clean as he was. They did the same thing to Odell Beckham. They started vilifying Odell Beckham. Eli Manning, they used to attack Eli Manning, but Eli Manning was such a stone wall that media couldn't mess with him. Media couldn't bring up the sexy story. And a lot of the distractions from anything has always been the media. Like when the Giants had the boat ride, what was the media focusing on? Because they had a moment to just go and have fun. All of a sudden, oh, they're not concentrating. They lost because they wasn't concentrating. How does that have anything to do with the actual game and preparation? You know what I'm saying? Like they'll focus on the negative aspects of everything and they won't tell you the whole story.
That's the same thing they do with Trump. And listen, like I said, I'm not a Trump supporter. It's certain things about him that I don't like, but overall, I would say he hasn't done a bad job, bro. Honestly, he has not done a bad job, and I'm glad he's in office because we needed a change. We're tired of having these career politicians in office. They go in there and they don't do shit. Look at Nancy Pelosi. She's been in Washington D.C. 30 years, and all she does is bitch and complain. She's worth $120 million. Where do you think that money came from? From those 30 years, her being in Washington D.C. Come on, bro. Like,
getting paid
we
under
gotta
the
be real with ourselves, bro. Like, these politicians, You go to school, and you major in political science, and you become a career politician. You live off of other people's money. You live off of taxpayer money, off of lobbyist money. Politicians are corrupt, bro. So for us to have people who are actually um, um, titled businessmen, engineers, and doctors in office, I think that's what we should focus on trying to get those people into office. Trump was the beginning of that. He was an entrepreneur, businessman, a real estate, a conglomerate, right? He got in there, a mogul, a real estate mogul. He got in there, right? That was the first time we ever seen that, like John Tavares said.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, honestly, Donald Trump is a businessman, but definitely he is a very poor businessman, as far as like his business. Although he knew how to really manipulate the system in order for him to still be successful, because he went bankrupt a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? Knowing his history as far as like paying taxes, it's been revealed already that the man has paid about $750 of taxes, and he had his own daughter, as far as like being employed under him as a consultor, and getting paid almost a $750,000, and use that for his tax bill. Again, though, with Trump,
you're basing that on the New York Times, article, right?
Yes.
So supposedly, for what I've been told, it came from an anonymous source that hasn't been verified yet.
Okay, so I will say this. It's very evident that the man has a poor history as far as business. And I think anyone could really confirm that through research. I don't think it takes a lot to really, to understand that. So, again, though, it's very evident, But when it comes to politics, though, the majority are lawyers and businessmen that really don't understand the well-being of other people. It's all about gaining profit. So we really got to understand that. This is why we have certain candidates that are really trying to advocate for the well-being of people, because they understand, the ecosystem. They understand the fars of just people, the environment. This is what we got to really focus on, not just people that are just interested of a particular area for their own, their financial gain. And again, with politics, to this day, we never had a technician elected. We never had a science engineer elected. We never had no one who has a background as far as like the environment. It's all been about lawyers and businessmen that is taking over office, and it's all about just really about profits, how to really economically gain. For us being from New York City, I can talk talk about it firsthand. Mayor Bloomberg, who was the mayor here for 3 terms, who's able to buy out his 3rd term, who was able to actually override the 2nd term, being that he's a billionaire, and do that, and really crush his city as far as like people that's trying to really make a contribution into the society, but it's all about business. And for me though, my whole take about when it comes to government, we need more people involved about the well-being of others, not someone that just knows about business, not someone who has some knows about laws. A person that understands the nature of being human, and that's what we're missing when it comes to the political system. And that's my argument with as far as like why Trump, like why this man's been elected, and at the same time having Joe Biden to even run against him. But it makes sense though, because you don't want to have someone that's about really bringing true social change within, this country, because it threatens the advantage of people that have that advantage. And that's my take. You guys are quiet right now. Well, no, just disappeared right now.
No, I'm there. I'm here. I'm just the camera's focused on you because you was the speaker. But
no, listen, I'm all about hearing you guys, listening to you guys. I'm saying
that's the same. That's the same thing that I was saying. That was the same thing that I was saying. That was the same thing I was saying earlier, man. When I first started talking about this, was that at the beginning of the podcast today, that we need to get people who understand everyday struggles, everyday activities from our citizens, right? Doctors, scientists, engineers. I said that That's what we need in office. We don't need your career politicians in office. We don't need that. We need somebody who knows and understands what the day-to-day lives of people are and what affects them. That's what we need.
So I'm actually reading the Times article right here, and it's saying that the New York Times obtained tax return information from the IRS. So how the hell were they able to do that? Isn't that something that's private?
I mean, unless they got a whistleblower or something.
But I mean, now that you have to think about, okay, your tax return, Jay, your tax return now, that's supposed to be private, isn't it?
But
Yeah.
what I'll say though, when you're at that stature though, it becomes really prevalent. Like, I mean, you become a target easily.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. There's certain protections in place to prevent that sort of information from being leaked. That's where I have the issue, is like they obtain information from the IRS. How are they able to do that?
Yeah,
Without court orders, because they have to get a court order in order to obtain that information, and the courts have to make that shit public. How were they able to do that? That's where I have the issue with.
Yeah, that sounds kind of fishy to me.
Because
sounds kind of fishy to me. Either an IRS employee was a whistleblower. He was anonymous, like they said, so hasn't been verified exactly how credible he is, or who or she, whatever. But that's probably how they attained it, through a whistleblower within the IRS. They actually got the documents and passed it on to the New York Times. But when you have an anonymous, non-credible source, like, I mean, how can you believe a story like that?
So here's where it says. See, here's where it gets funny. After the Times declined, and I'll pull it up here so you guys can see it. Do you guys see it? You guys see it?
Yeah, I see it.
So you see right here, look at this. After the Times declined to provide records in order to protect its sources.
Okay.
That can mean anything. They can mean that they're just blowing the whistle and there's no actual source. It's so funny that this is something that they've been fighting over for years, and all of a sudden, election time, boom, New York Times article comes out.
Right. No.
It can easily
timing, yeah, you definitely got to question the timing. You're right about that. Definitely.
Question the timing. You got to think. People don't think. Oh, he ain't paying no taxes. You got to think.
But I'll say this though, as a public figure, you would like to actually display that information. I would think so. You know what I'm saying? As being the United States U.S. president, right? You're the U.S. president. You want to really display those type of information to gain the trust of the people, opposed to keeping it low key. So that also raises questions too at the same time. So it kind of counters each other. If you really think about it.
Well, Jay, so let me ask you this. So you think that every single wealthy politician should now divulge their full tax return information? Because if we're going to go after Trump, we might go after everybody. I want to see everybody's tax return. I want to see Pelosi. I want to see Schumer. I want to see Mitch McConnell. I want to see Joe Biden's tax returns.
Honestly,
let's do all of them.
Me as a U.S. citizen, hell yeah. You live in a position to represent us, right? Because at the end of the day, we do not live in a true democracy to begin with. We allow you guys to actually vote for us and make our decision for us. So you're basically dictating my life right now. You're basically passing laws where I have no say so. So I want to know your financial background. I want to know what you're doing.
But here's where I disagree on you with that, Jay, is because if you expect every single last United States citizen to take time to debate on every issue, to debate on every bill and every law, you're never going to get anything done. The problem is the politicians that we put in place that work for other people, that work for the corporations. We need to have people in place that's going to work for us, that's going to be what's best for us. A lot of the times we don't do that. We don't do that. We just put career politicians in place that are going to work for people that are being paid to put them in the first place. Because Jay, if you take even a community and have them vote on issues, they're not going to do it. Not going to do it. I guarantee you that's not going to happen.
I mean,
Maybe you, because you care about those issues, you'll probably do it. But you have other people that, you know what? I'm going to put somebody in place to take care of that for me. That's, you know, if I'm a manager at a job, or I'm not going to I'm not going to do all the work for me. I'm going to have other people do it.
Right, no. I definitely get what you're saying, though. I definitely understand that 1,000%. But I would say, though, that's really based on education. It's really based on how you educate the population. And again, though, you know, we don't live under a true democratic government to begin with. And the majority of the population don't even know that. Because in a true democratic government, the population is involved of the decisions. But we elect people to make our decisions for us. And that's the difference. You know what I mean? So this is why I trying to, you know what I mean, imply to you is that when you put people in that power, you have a right to know what they're doing. Because, I mean, you got to be, you know, not only be blindsided,
that should
but to even think that these people are not influenced by some external other party. You know what I'm saying? Where obviously we already know lobbying is called really bribery. Like, I mean, it's like bribery, like you trying to bribe someone. And I think, honestly, to me, to even know that it's even still illegal, it's legal. I'm able to fund your campaign as long as you're able to really, you know what I'm saying, make sure that you're able to really, you know, manifest my ideas and make it into something that's going to be officially real. And I'm able to do it off the power of money. We have to question that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that we have to question that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why most politicians actually make more money when they go out of politics. You know what I mean? Donald Trump is a perfect example. He's made a lot of money being the president. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not, it don't take a genius to figure that out, I think.
But Jay, that's only been highlighted because the media has been honing in on it. Every president has done that. Every president.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's a thing now because Donald Trump is president. They've all done that.
Oh yeah. Historically. Absolutely.
And so it makes you think about, why are they going after this man so hard? Why? It makes you think, why are they going after this man so hard when other presidents have done the same thing? There's an agenda behind it.
Because he's a
Why are
game
they going
changer.
after this man so hard? What is he doing?
It's because he's a game changer. That's why they don't like. He was a game changer.
Make him look bad.
He was a game changer. That's the reason why he changed the game in Washington, D.C. He changed the traditional ways of doing things in Washington, D.C. And traditional politicians do not like that he changed that. He exposed a lot of them. He's not one of them, and they don't like that. That's the reason why they treat him the way that they treat him.
And it's crazy.
One thing he exposed, though, is racism in the United States. That's why one thing I applaud about Trump. Like, he's very blunt about being racist. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean making America great again, that is such a subliminal attack on the history.
I mean, that's something that I feel like, you know, that was just, they took that and ran with it.
Yeah,
you know,
I think
that wasn't something to try and like, make a racist thing out of it. It was him saying, well, let's make America great
as a whole. I think that's how he meant.
And people took it because he had a lot of redneck racists there. Yeah. They took that shit and ran with it and made it out to be more than what it was.
Because Trump traditionally has helped out the black community a lot. That's why the hip hop artists and those early rappers were always on his dick. It's called what it is. He helped a lot of business entrepreneurs, black entrepreneurs, to fund their companies. Like, I don't know, man. It's just like,
here's something to counteract that. So
remember that model that he dated for like 4 or 5 years? It was his girlfriend for 4 or 5 years. She was black. So you tell me if he's racist. I don't know. I think that's
like the little excuse they use, man. Trust me. I know. You know what? About this, you guys chime in on that, but I actually know personally people that trying to use that as far as like, I'm not racist. I got a black wife. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, if he's so racist, and this is an article right here that I'm gonna pull up that makes the argument very tough. Because if he was so racist, he wouldn't do this shit.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna share it right now. It's basically called the Platinum Plan. So right here, it's an economic plan to put money into the black community, create small businesses, make the Ku Klux Klan and Antifa terrorist organizations. And you can highlight it here. And he wants to make lynching a national hate crime. National. And it's crazy and amazing that after 400 years, this is something that's now coming to fruition. And he even says here, and this has been something that's been brought to my attention, is that they only care about power for themselves, whatever that means. My opponent is offering Black Americans nothing but the same old tired, empty slogans. So if he's so racist and he's so against the black community, why is he doing this? Or why is this coming into effect? Whether he actually comes through on it is remains to be seen, because you can't really take anything a politician says at face value. But it's kind of important to see that there's actually something there saying that it's a benefit.
Right. I agree with that.
Nobody, not even fucking Obama's done this shit or even mentioned it.
Well, Obama, he was another.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people were like, oh, well, and that's the thing. Like, listen, I'm gonna say this right now. I'm not a Trump supporter. I am a realist. I look at both sides of the coin. I'm not gonna sit here and go from one way because I'm told to go that way. I'm gonna look at both sides of the story and determine the truth for myself.
Gotcha.
And I'm just I am a, what's the word? I want people to really do their research and not follow what the liberal media is saying to everybody, because it's very dangerous, because it's so easy to manipulate. So easy to manipulate. And I guarantee you there's a lot of people who don't know this is true, who never heard about this.
I agree.
And the fact that you're making the Ku Klux Klan a terrorist group finally, after so many Black Americans have been killed, lynched, beat up, shot, destroyed, homes threatened, and this is now in 2020, they're being characterized as a hate crime, as a hate group, as a terrorist organization.
Yeah.
People gotta start waking up to really understand what's going on.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier. In part, it has to do with the Democratic Party always telling us how how bad racism is, or racism still exists, and this, that, and the third, and using the media to basically keep us in that mindset, in that bubble, that we can't we can't surpass certain things because there's been things in place for us not to make it. I mean, come on. I mean, we understand the history of shit, and we understand that it happened at one point, but we can't continue to let those things affect us in our everyday lives, because we're never going to be nobody. If you continue to think that if you go to every job that you go to for an interview, that you're going to not get the job because of the color of your skin or because of your last name, that's going to stop you from being progressive in life. You know what I mean? And that's what the Democratic Party does, I believe. They do that a lot. They try to keep us in that little realm where we think that everything is against us and that we need change, but this, that, and the third, and I hate that shit.
They're not close at all, man. The Republican Party, the Democratic Party, I always say this is probably, I'm going to copyright this, is that they two shades of the same color. They still the same blue.
Well, I mean,
light blue, sky blue, dark blue, indigo, or whatever fucking shades of blue there is. Still the same color.
I mean, I'll say this, I mean, you guys definitely, I mean, you made your points, and I understand your viewpoints. I definitely make sure you guys get your point across. But definitely when it comes to the political system, they're under the same umbrella. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, Chris Ryder, you definitely said, I mean, it's the same blue, right? No matter what kind of blue it is. So I definitely relate to that. With Trump, though, honestly, still, though, you know what I mean? Knowing history, the way I study it, to say, make America great again, that is an attack. That is an attack to me. Knowing my history, the way I learned it, knowing the history, the way I observed it, it is an attack to me. It is. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just really like a cheap shot to me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just going from my perspective, the way I look at history and how it's affected me growing up. You know what I'm saying? Being a person, you know what I mean, how you want to call it brown or whatever you want to call it black. You know what I'm saying? It definitely affected my, you know what I'm saying, upbringing. So that's why I take it very seriously because of my experience. So that's why, you know what I mean, when I say that make America great again, I'm talking of a personal experience. You know what I'm saying? But I do understand as far as like Trump, you know what I'm saying, trying to like leverage, trying to change things around. I get it. I definitely get it. However, though, I mean, at the end of the day, I just don't understand still why we live in this under this political system that we give a small group of people so much power to dictate our way of living, to tell us what we can do and what we cannot do. You get what I'm saying? Which is not a true democratic system. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I'm so really involved in like trying to change the economic system, trying to change the political system, because it's not something that's really real when it comes to like living in a true democracy by definition. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I mean, yeah, man. I mean, listen, man. At the end of the day, we just gotta. I've always said this on the podcast. I'm gonna quote myself right now. The Democratic Party and the Republican Party they the same. They cut from the same cloth. They just got different ideologies, bro. And at the end of the day, that's the reason why we still have a bipartisan system, where it's only them two, always, um, basically fighting for the presidency. At the end of the day, we need to start getting different political parties in there, and I think in the future, in the near future, you're gonna see a new president from a new party because people are starting to wake up and noticing that, yo, why the fuck is there always a Democratic president or a Republican president? Why isn't there somebody from another political party? We got, I think, believe 6 political parties in the United States, and only those 2 parties always end up running for the president. That makes no sense to me. And I mean, it does make sense in a sense because they've been around the longest. But
They have the
at the end
most.
of the day, um, we need to make those other parties a little bit stronger so that they can end up in office as well.
But in order for that to happen, those parties need a rock star.
A rock star, yeah, hell yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna use this example, and I hope people don't take it the wrong way. But think about Hitler and when he was running for presidency or whatever it was in the 30s. He took the Nazi party, which wasn't a party. He was that rock star that changed the whole thing, and he changed it for the worse. But he was a rock star, and he was able to change that. These parties, they need that rock star. They
Mm.
need that rock star because if you don't have a person that is going to be somebody you can get around, how can you support a party if they don't have somebody that's like that has that charisma? And the problem is that a lot of people know that the only way to get into presidency or get into higher offices is to join one of the two major parties. So a lot
Right.
of these third or fourth or fifth parties, that same they don't have that same roster because all right, if you think about
The
in terms
funding too
of
has a lot to do with it too. Funding, there's not enough funding.
because if you think about like basketball college for a while, the college ranks was whack because a lot of the major talent were jumping straight to the NBA. And the college basketball started bitching at the NBA like, yo, bro, you taking all our talent, you taking all away our shine. They had to like put the kibosh on that. You know what I'm saying? So for one thing, I don't support Hitler. He did a lot of shit that was fucked up. I was merely using an example of how he was able to rise into power in Germany. If you do your research and you know your history, you understand what happened. He was. I'm talking about figure as a rock star, game changer. These political parties need that type of game changer.
Yeah, they do. They need the funding. They need big corporations behind them. And I mean, or not big corporations, but some big movement behind them. Because we don't want big corporations behind the politicians, because that's the whole problem that we have now, right? That these corporations basically run our president, right? Um, but we definitely they need a lot of funding, and they need to gain popularity. They have to be a rock star. Has to be somebody who's such a game changer, who's like like let's if you want to put into sports terminology, like the Michael Jordan of politics comes through. You know what I mean? And changes everything. And everybody like, oh my God, this guy is so great, and they put him into office anyway. But it's gonna be hard, man. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be very hard.
Because there's going to be so many. The engine behind the Democratic and Republican Party is so strong that they kill whatever wave any of them have before they even get to that point.
They might literally just kill that rock star if one
So
arises.
that's
Well,
the
Arises.
I'll get to that right now because honestly, the biggest game changer has been assassinated.
JFK. JFK.
Been assassinated.
JFK. That's the reason why he got assassinated, because he was a rock
So,
star, game changer. He was about transparency, and they didn't like that, man. They didn't like that he was gonna actually make things right. You know, he actually had a secret meeting with MLK in the White Office. A secret meeting, nobody knew about it. And right after that, he dies. I mean, there was a lot of things that happened that led up to his death, according to his research. With the mob and the CIA being pissed off because he took away funding, but he was trying to make society equal, bro. Because remember, the civil rights movement was not only about black people; it was all about equality for all, and it was mostly because of the socio-economical system. That's what he was trying to change, and that's why he got killed. Him and Martin Luther King were very big on that, and they had a big meeting behind closed doors, only them two, and it was a secret. And then later on, he got murdered, man. And there's a lot of things that go into, like conspiracy theories. But
yeah.
our government killed our government, the body of government that runs this country, killed their president. Practically, that's what happened.
And it's crazy you mentioned that because I think there was an article somewhere a while that said that he understood what it was going to take to change that engine, because America is so powerful in its indoctrination and how it was founded and was built, and he knew that it was going to take a lot to change that, and it was going to take time. He knew it, but he knew that he had to start it. And I think he knew deep down inside all the shit he was doing, he was gonna end up getting killed. He knew it.
Look how much of a hypocrisy. Look how much of a hypocrisy with this country, that from the very beginning, while they was writing the Constitution, they're talking about equality for all, but they're still slaves. So how the hell are you gonna have equality for all?
Because they weren't considered human beings.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm saying. How can you have that's a hypocrisy? How can you have a true democracy and build a system and they still have people enslaved? That makes no sense. Right there, it shows you that the founding fathers were fucking hypocrites themselves. So JFK was trying to change that. That was the only president that wanted to
actually wrote it was
Lincoln started. Lincoln,
The one who wrote it was a slaveholder, Thomas Jefferson. So
yeah, exactly.
There was shit coming out about him too, about him, being a fucking pedophile and all this other shit. Fucked up.
Let's give credit.
Yeah, slaves. Yeah.
We also got to give credit to Abraham Lincoln too, because he started that movement that JFK was trying to do too. He started by ending slavery, right? Abolishing slavery, right? So Abraham Lincoln was a game changer too. And what happened to him? He got assassinated as well. All the game changers, the real game changers, not the fake game changers, because we have a lot of game changers that come in spitting this rhetoric and they don't do anything, right? But Lincoln actually did something and got murdered for it.
I mean, it comes to the territory, as you say, right? Because, I mean, this is why I definitely respect a lot of these, people that actually put their life on the line, knowing that one day I may be possibly killed. Like, I mean, Chris Ryder, you said like MLK, like he knew, you know what I'm saying? Abraham Lincoln, you just said right now.
Malcolm X. I was saying JFK too.
These are people that actually knew already at one time. At one point in my life, there's going to be a time where my life is going to be in danger and I could be possibly killed. But I'm going to take the sacrifice to actually do that. And they made that sacrifice.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
They knew their life. They knew their life was worth more in death than it would be alive.
Yeah.
And let me rephrase that. They knew that their community and their people was bigger
Yeah,
It
but
was bigger than their own life.
Right.
yeah,
For our children now who can, experience, because it's so much different now than it was back then. Like you could walk into any place that you want, and if they deny you because of the color of your skin, you can sue and win money. You couldn't do that shit in the 60s, you know.
yeah. You
And
couldn't
they
do that during
changed,
segregation for sure.
and they changed that. They changed that.
Mhm.
But the equality is still not where it needs to be, but the conversation is there.
Yeah. The conversation is there, and it's definitely a lot different. A lot different. You know what I mean? A lot different than how it used to be. But there still are certain things in place that do, I would say, do kind of like prevent us from getting to a certain level, but there are loopholes that allow us to get to that level, and that's what people need to start understanding. Like, if you have this mentality where you think the odds are against you all the time, guess what? They are going to be against you because that's the mentality that you're in. That's the state of mind that you're in. You know what I mean? Because we have a lot of successful Latino and Black brothers and sisters, right? How do you think they got there? You said, they knew that there was a system in place that prevents not prevents them, but it's harder for them to get into, right? There's a little the process for us is harder, but that didn't stop them from becoming successful. They still said, fuck it, I'm gonna go ahead. I know the odds are against me, but there's a loophole, there's a chance that I might make it, so I'm gonna take it. There's a lot of black and brown successful people, and we just got to stop thinking that just because of the history, right? It's the history that makes us think like that, and because of the rhetoric that keeps on being preached on, it's like we gotta stop thinking of that. We have to stop thinking that these things are preventing us from becoming successful. Because trust me, it's not that hard anymore like it used to. It's not as hard as it used to be. Imagine you being a slave. You couldn't accomplish none of these things. You weren't even allowed to go to school or study um or anything. You know what I'm saying? One of the reasons why the electoral college was made was because of that, because they were trying to stop black people from voting. And you know what they did? They said, "Oh, they're not intellectually educated enough to even read a ballot, so they can't vote." And that's so there was things in place that made us, not part of society. But in today's day and age,
All that.
things are very different. And in today's age, if you want to make a difference and you want to be all you can be, you can do it. It's just a little bit harder for us, but we can still make it happen.
But let me ask you a question now, Jay. When you succeed with all this put against you, how much sweeter is it to know that you sat there, worked your ass off, fought, bled, fucking sweat, tears, all that shit, broken down and out, gotten up, back up. And how much sweeter is it to know that you reached that mountaintop?
It's
Because
way
you worked
sweeter
your
because you knew
motherfucking
that
ass off.
it's way sweeter because if you know there's obstacles in your way and you're able to overcome those obstacles, it's much more about it tastes sweeter at the end. It does. When you're handed something, it's not you're not grateful for it. You don't appreciate it as much when you're handed something.
And
When
that's
you
what I
work
think.
hard for it is a big major difference. Now that there's a part of society that did have a head start, of course, it's evident. It's in history. Caucasian white people had a head start, mainly because of the social economical system through the slavery thing. We get that part. But in this day and age, we have to snap out of that mentality. If you want to be somebody, go ahead and do it. The resources are there. Make it happen. Stop making an excuse for yourself and just make it happen because it's proof there's people out there who are the same color as you, same background, came from the same place, who are very successful. What we need to do is that once we become successful, we need to give back to the community, come back and teach those who are still
Coming
in
up.
that realm of thinking that they can't make it. But like, listen, I was in your same position. I went through the same things you went through. I learned the loopholes. I'm going to teach you. Set up organizations, set up institutions to help people that look like us get out that loophole where they think that they can't make it.
I like to use a lot of sports analogies that I feel like people can relate better to that. But there's a part in The Last Dance where they were talking about how hard MJ was on his teammates, and he got a little emotional, and he was like, "I fought. I got hurt, broke bones, bled. I fell countless times. I fought for this." And he said that I want you to sit here with me and enjoy it. To know that you fought so hard to get to this place. And the feeling that you feel is the greatest thing you'll ever feel in the world.
This guy Jordan played
And
half
this,
his
and
half of his career with a broken foot. You got to be kidding me.
7 years he didn't win. He
7
had to
years
go
with
through the
a
Celtics,
broken foot.
the Detroit Pistons. And these were fucking powerhouses that he had to go through. And he got beat the hell up for many years. And he said that's why he got emotional about it, because he was like, did it change me? Yes, it did. But it made him a fucking warrior. It made him fucking mentally, physically tough. One thing that these white people don't have that we do is that we are mentally tough. Because we're warriors, we're fighters, because we've had to fight for everything we've had since we were little.
Yeah,
we're fucking tough. We can go through anything. Why do you think our communities are always tough? And they're the ones always complaining about everything. They're the ones that started this whole sensitivity and all this other nonsense. But yeah, we're over here like, bro, we went through that shit when we were like 5 years old, and you can't deal with it now? We're mentally and physically tough. That's all of us. Black, Latinos, we've all been through shit in our lives, and we stand tall.
I agree. I want to just chime in real quick. I want to make sure you guys get your point of view, though, because I think you guys definitely make a lot of great views. You know what I'm saying? A lot of great point of views. I want to make sure that you guys definitely get your say so.
We want you to get your say so too, Jay.
I don't cut you off, though. I want to make sure that you get your say so. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about making sure.
But nobody's cutting nobody off here. We letting everybody speak their mind. We just saying what we need to say.
No, but I'm trying to.
What you're talking about? Like,
no, I'm saying though, like, I mean, when you guys are talking, I don't want to cut into the middle, because I know that you got to get into something that you want to make sure is out there. You know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure that you guys, I mean, like, honestly, I respect that 1,000%. But we got to get up. I mean, for me, this is my take, though. This is my point of view, is that we got to break out of ourselves as far as like labeling each other. We got to start being more united. Even with us as brown or black people, calling each other dark skin versus light skin. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole mechanism about divide and conquer. You know what I mean? Like, we got to break out of that. To be successful is about working in cooperation and not in competition. You know what I mean? Like, we have to really remove ourselves for trying to be, as feel as we are in competition, and be more in cooperation to work with each other. And I think this is our downfall, because, I mean, historically speaking, it's actually been put in place on us to be against each other, because that's how you got more control of people, put them against each other. And for me, I always been, you know what I mean, I learned that, I mean, the only way to be really successful is really, being determined of what you do and always work within cooperation, not in competition. I'm not here trying to annihilate you. I'm not here trying to fucking, damage you, ruin you. I'm here trying to work with you. You know what I'm saying? I want both for us. You know what I mean? Just hypothetically speaking, to be successful. And that's how I'll succeed. That I'm able to really, uplift another person and work with them to be successful and feed off that energy. You know what I'm saying? That's how I really believe that we are able to really overcome this, by us being more cooperative and not being competitive. You know what I'm saying? This is why, for me, I take it very seriously, man. Like, I mean, I'm a very humble guy. It took me a minute, you know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously, life definitely teach the hell out of me. You know what I mean? Life definitely gave me a kicker right in the face. But life is the best teacher. Life is the best teacher, man.
And that's been one of kind of the criticisms of, like, for instance, the liberals and the Democratic Party. They want to keep us divided because they keep on talking about the same shit, how the country's racist, how this is this, how this is that. You know what I mean? Like, stop it already. Like, we know what happened in the past. We know what happened. in the past. But what's going to happen now? Are we going to continue to use those excuses for us not to move forward? Let's stop it already. That's what that's been the criticism of the Democratic Party since we're talking about the election 2020 is that we caught on to the game, man. We caught on. The Democratic Party has done nothing but continue to feed us the same bullshit that we can't make it because we're black and brown and that we need them to help us achieve something. No, bro. That's it. It's over. Like we know there's other ways to make it, and we need to actually have a politician in there who knows that the past is the past, the present is now. We need to make a change. Joe Biden was the first thing that he said. Oh, if if you vote for Trump, you ain't black. He's already putting it in your head that Trump is a racist. He's already putting in your head that he's not. When in actuality, Biden is the biggest racist. He's the biggest racist out of both of them. He's been caught on tape in live conferences saying racist shit. Versus, Trump, who people say that he's racist because let's make America great again, or when he's in a rally, he kind of like makes people like get all rowdy, whatever, right? But at the end of the day, Biden is more of a racist than Trump. Why we're not saying that? Like, because why? Because he represents the Democratic Party, and that makes no sense to me. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but
I think most people are aware of that. I mean, as far as like the back
yeah.
Biden.
But we need to stop. Like, we need these parties to stop making it a race thing. Like, that's another thing too. These parties they use race to help get votes, and we got to stop doing that. We have to talk about humanity as a whole. We have to talk about American citizens as a whole. We're one. You know what I mean? We're one race. We're United States citizens. You know what I mean? We're one people. Like all this shit about color and race, man. We got to stop that. And until we don't stop these politicians from making us divide. They basically divide and conquer us, like the way John Tavar said, through using like race and using these savvy terminologies to make us think that some politicians are on the side of the blacks and browns and some are against, or some are just for the whites and some are just for the blacks. We got to stop doing that, man, because we're going to continue to vote people into office who go into office for the wrong things. You know what I mean?
You know what I just realized, guys? They're like an abusive spouse. So you know how an abusive spouse beat you.
Yeah, they keep on fucking nagging all the time.
Then when you're like, well, I'm leaving you, or you can't do it without me. You can't survive without me. That's what you were saying right now. Was just like clicked in my head. Like they're like an abusive spouse that's like, you can't survive without me. You need me.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
after they don't beat your ass like two seconds ago. You need me. You can't survive without me.
That's insane, man. I just think that we need to have if the Democratic Party, the Republican Party want to continue to, obviously their bipartisan system, they need to stop that bullshit already, like about like making it a race thing and the Republican is racist and the Democrats are not, like, you know what I mean? That's all bullshit, bro. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Because there's a lot of big important, successful black and brown Republicans. We don't talk about those people, right? Why not? Because the mainstream media doesn't want you to know about them. You know what I mean? Because they want you to think that the Republicans are racist. They're not, bro. They just have different ideologies in the Democratic Party. And we know the history. We know what happened in the past, but the past is the past. We need to focus on the president. We need to focus on the present and the future. Forget about the past. That's it. We learned from the past. We have to continue to learn. We learned from the past. We know the mistakes that we did. Let's not let them repeat themselves and think about the present and the future. That's it.
Right. I mean, I wanted to definitely jump on that one. I mean, honestly, when it comes to the Democratic Party, it definitely started with defending slavery. You know what I'm saying? Which again, it goes really understanding the history though. So people that actually don't understand how the Democratic Party actually started, it started with defending slavery. You know what I mean? But it transitioned into, being where, we're trying to really fight for people of color, you want to call it, right? To really, bring more civil rights. But end of the day, I mean, you guys already said it earlier, they're still under the same umbrella. You know what I mean? That's why I don't trust any Republican. I don't trust any Democrat. I'm all about really the peoples. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about someone who's really, presenting something, not only presenting something, but actually presenting solutions. And I've never seen a candidate that's really talking about solutions. You know what I'm saying? And again, I don't really see that happening until the masses really pick up on it and understand, like, oh, wait a minute. We don't live in a true democratic society. We got to change this right now. And I always said to you guys, man, the powers are in numbers. So not until the masses understand this, I don't see any change happening.
And another thing is too. Oh, go ahead.
It's starting. That waking up, that it's starting to happen slowly but surely. People got to get away from years of tradition and all that other stuff that people are starting to really see, and they're starting to wake up slowly but surely.
I mean, we hope so, man. I mean, again, though, I told you guys, always, unfortunately, the way I look at it, it's going to take enormous human suffering to really see any change happen. Like, a lot of people have to really suffer and go through it in order to make a change. Unfortunately, it's the way I look at it. Hope is not right.
I mean, that to be honest with you, I think housing is something that the federal government should be in charge of. I think it's stupid to have these corporations and real estate brokers taking advantage of everything and really being unchecked. That's it should be a necessity, not a privilege, to have housing.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's just yeah.
And it should be the government should be in charge.
I think food and shelter.
I'm with that.
Food and shelter should be the basic essential right of every.
Nobody talks about that shit. It's a shame.
Food and housing.
That there's not a state in the United States of America where a person living on minimum wage can afford a 2-bedroom apartment. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
That's why part of Karl Marx's theory was that marriage is a business, because people typically get married because they can't survive on their own, so they have to join forces in order to have a place.
These companies, they'll open a store that costs hundreds of millions of dollars to open. They'll open those stores and essentially lose millions of dollars. But to actually pay their employees a living wage is a fucking problem. We have no money. We can't do it. Yeah. They can't give you 40 hours. They can't give you overtime if you want. They can't pay you a living wage.
So
we can't pay you this. We can't pay you that. But yet they'll go and open a store that won't make no money in the beginning, because every time you open up a new establishment, it doesn't make money right away because it has to build that clientele. So
it takes about a year for a new business to.
It's a year or two for that business to really make some money. So that first year, you're always gonna run at a negative. Period. I don't give a shit what fucking store you operate on. You're gonna run at a negative until you get the money back that you spent, and then you start making a profit off of that. But
I agree.
To pay, like Jeff Bezos, all the money he's made on the pandemic, he can take care of all his employees, and they'll be straight. And they won't even bother him.
Awesome.
You think he'll do it? You think he'll do it? Nope.
Yeah.
$1 billion is nothing. He can make that tomorrow.
And that's
he can wake up and make $1 billion. But you think he'll use $1 billion to take care of the people who make him that $1 billion? It's not good for business. That's the problem with America. It's not good for business. Look at the stimulus package.
Well,
we're in almost in October. We still haven't gotten a new relief package yet. Why is it so difficult? It's such an easy thing. Take care of the people.
The superpower, the superpower of the world can't figure it out. Mind you, you have other countries at the very beginning, they came with a plan up.
It's a problem now.
Come on, the Canadians they're good right now. They get $2,000 from the government every equivalent to $2,000 every month from their government, and they're good. They're chilling because they realize that there's a pandemic going on. We need to take care of our citizens. What's so hard about that?
America is the only superpower in the world that's a problem.
You know why? Because you got the capitalist mentality that the rich don't want to give up their bread, bro.
They don't want to.
They don't want to share it with the rest of us.
They don't want to. And then every one of these stimulus packages, they got to sneak little things here and there to, take care of their big boys.
Yeah. And then I
In
mean,
reality,
let's get it. Okay. I mean, there's always gonna be rich, and there's always gonna be people who are not rich, right? But let's do that. Rich and not rich, but not poor. Can we do that? At least we can do that. There's a big difference when I'm from not being rich and being poor, right? There's rich, non-rich, and poor. Can we just make us like how hard is it to just make rich and
Yeah.
non-rich? You know what I mean? At least if everybody can live comfortable, at least with food and shelter, and just worry about other shit in life, I think society would be a lot better.
and if
Absolutely.
you take care of these minimums, then you wouldn't have poverty. You
Right,
wouldn't
right.
have people living on the streets.
And to even think about this right now, like it's one thing that's it's not enough to go around, right? But when you throwing food away, when you have abandoned buildings empty, that should raise a lot of questions. You know what I'm saying?
That shit,
Like just
Jay,
common
yo,
sense. Like
you
it's just
understand.
common sense.
That shit, Jay, is something that I get so fucking mad about with this country. Is that if the apples don't look perfect, if the bananas are crooked, or if there's a little dent in it, they don't want it because it's not good enough. Or you know how much we throw away because it doesn't look appealing.
Yeah,
So
dude. I mean,
throw that piece of meat in the garbage when that food can be used to somebody who actually needs it, but because it doesn't look good, we can't use it. That shit is I can't stand that shit for the life of me, bro. And that's the
statistically,
problem with our
restaurants.
country.
Yeah, statistically, restaurants throw away 60% of the food that they prepare for the day. 60%,
That's
more than
more
half.
than half.
They
Ten
throw it
percent
out.
more than
They
half.
throw it out. I mean, you have certain
That's crazy numbers.
institutions.
Then. That's crazy.
Yeah, you have certain organizations that were made like the Meals on Wheel or the Meals on Wheel by Whoopi Goldberg and a few others similar to those. They go around the city, they pick shit up. They have like these deals with the restaurants, but some restaurants don't even have those resources available. As far as like, oh, hey, listen, I'm a restaurant owner. Like, I'm feel bad that I'm throwing all this food away. Can you come pick it up? A lot of them don't do that. They just rather throw it out. It's crazy. It's insane. And
Yes.
that's an actual real statistic.
It's ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
especially in the United States though, because we see it every day. It's in front of our faces. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like, there's no denial about that. I mean, it's no denial. We see that all the time. All the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even for me, I mean, I used to work in a restaurant, you know what I'm saying, washing dishes. And I used to see it every night. Every night.
Yeah, food thrown away,
And
right?
so much food getting thrown away. Ridiculous. It's crazy.
Yo, dude, right now my
Crazy.
job is starting to implement new rules that I'm just like, yo, you're gonna throw away so much shit for what? Because it doesn't look good. You know how many customers say I don't want that because it doesn't look good? But meanwhile, it'll probably be the best steak you ever have in your life. But they won't take it because it doesn't look good.
They're so privileged.
It's
Yeah.
that's that privileged mentality. Then meanwhile, you go outside and you see a guy in the street, all he wants is money to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And that money, and then even still, you can take that, give it to your employees for free.
Yeah.
They don't
That
even do
that
that.
need it.
100%.
But they won't do it because it's stealing. But they'll rather throw it in the garbage. I've worked in companies where that's a real thing. Like you'll get fired for taking food that's still edible, but you
I
can't
agree.
take it because it's trash. But meanwhile, it's good enough to eat. It's ridiculous. The amount of waste in this country is astronomical, and if we even cut that by 25% even, you can feed everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
comfortably too. Not just like, oh, you're gonna like comfortably.
It's been proven though, like we actually have enough resources to actually feed the entire population globally 3 times over. 3 times over. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy.
Ridiculous
You know
the
what I
amount of
mean?
money we waste this country.
Man, my
Ridiculous.
gosh, man. And to know how much space, how much resource we still have available, where no one should be actually living on the street. No one. I mean, no one.
And that's such
But
a big deal. That's such a problem. such an issue.
It is.
I'm trying to find the article right now. They were talking about Daily News had an article where this homeless man, he was showing his tickets that he got on the MTA for various infractions. You know how there was a whole big thing about homeless people in the subways and how like they were used as a shelter, and he had like hundreds of tickets. And he's like, how do they expect us to pay for this? How do they expect me to pay for it? It's a lose lose, you know. He's like, I stay in the subways because it was safest place for me. But now he if he tries to get up and do something better for himself, he can't because he's got these tickets to pay. And sometimes he was like the judge would toss him. Other times he would spend time in jail. How is that fair?
You know what's fair about it? I mean, a lot of homeless people actually go to jail on purpose to get that shelter, get that food. You know what I mean? Like, it's true. Like, they actually go, they go to jail on purpose.
All right, guys. So I want to pull up an article real quick. Since we were talking about food waste, can we do that real quick? Sorry to.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Check this out. Here we go, coming right up. All right, so this is the startling reality of food waste in restaurants. So the percentage is actually higher than what I said. I mean, this is I don't know how old this article is. It doesn't really say, but
Just 17.
It says what did I say? I don't know. Wait, oh, you saw it?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically it says that a half a pound of food is wasted per meal in restaurants. And 85% of the food that isn't used in typical American restaurants is thrown away, and a very small percentage of that is recycled and donated. So I'm assuming is that extra 25%.
Yeah, I mean, this is very subject to interpretation when you say small percentage.
Yeah, small percentage, because I said 60% earlier, and I got that off of an article. So I'm guessing if that's 60 to 85, that's 25%. That's probably the 25% that's being recycled or donated. But yeah, it's an actual big thing. More than 42 million food insecure people in our country. This is the amount of food waste is obviously a major problem. So it's 42 million. It's crazy. That's a big number. Even though they do have the food waste reduction alliance, the National Restaurant Association, the Grocery Manufacturing Association, and Food Marketing Institute actually trying to take care of the food waste problem in the United States. They're not doing such of a great job because there's a long way in between them fixing that problem. It's a long way. Yes.
A lot of that shit is laziness. A lot of that shit is not paying attention.
Not paying attention, and just the owners of restaurants or the people who run them, or the executive chefs, they're not giving a fuck. They're just there to do their job and get to go home.
Then it's like you can have something prepared already, not looking, and then all of a sudden that thing goes bad because you didn't take your time to look.
Yeah.
And I be going nuts sometimes, and I've been told, oh, you can't do this. It's like, but that person just took 2 seconds to properly do their job. You wouldn't have this problem. Just properly do your job. You don't have to do it great, amazing. Just do your job, and you will have that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this much. I've been in the hospitality business for a little while now, and I've seen a lot of bullshit. And I'll tell you that it stems from the very top to like the middle part of the executive branch when it comes to that. I've seen executive chefs throw away food that's practically new and not give it to the employees to eat. They can see the employees starving. The employees have been working 6 hours, haven't taken a break, and they won't give them that food. They'll just throw it out. That's fucked up.
I see lobsters being thrown away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, lobsters.
People send it back because it wasn't specifically the way they wanted it, and now that dish can't be used because that person didn't like it this way.
Yeah. And they'd rather throw that dish away.
They'd throw it away and give it to somebody to eat.
Yeah. If you're if you're at a restaurant and for some reason what you ordered wasn't what you wanted, that order goes back to the kitchen. They throw that shit out. They don't even give it to anybody. They throw it out, and it's a brand new dish. You nobody touched it. It's just you be like, wait, I didn't order potatoes with my shit. I ordered vegetables, and they send it back. They'll throw that shit away rather
Yep.
than save it and give it to somebody, one of their own employees. Hey, yo,
By the way, yeah.
uh,
And they actually do it in front of our face though. They actually, I mean, I've seen it before. Fortunately for me though, they'll throw it actually in the trash can right in front of my face. Okay, you don't want that? All right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get the, you know what I mean? Get the next order for you then, I guess.
And I think in order to change that, definitely has to start with the culture. Like the culture, like if you're in culinary school, the culinary schools need to teach chefs and cooks, hey, you don't throw away food unless it's tampered with. You see somebody who's hungry, we have to say, have to teach them that moral standard first, right? So that then it could break down into the actual work field, right?
I agree.
Because I think like chefs and like cooks, they get taught that shit like in school, like fuck that, just throw it out, start a new one. You know what I mean? Even if it's still edible, it's not contaminated. I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird, man.
I mean, unfortunately though, but I mean, listen, man, we had a great episode though, man.
Yeah, for sure,
A
man.
lot of things, man. Shoot, man.
That's what I was saying, man. We got to do more of these, Three Amigos episodes because we really get into some good topics and shit.
Absolutely, brother.
You know.
I appreciate you guys though, man. Definitely, we feed off each other very well. It's always, always respectful as far as like our point of views. You know what I'm saying, which makes it great. So yeah, man. So I mean, final thought, man. What's going on, man? Let's get to it though, man.
Final thought.
Let's start with I guess I'll start now. You want to go after me and then let JT finish it off?
Yeah,
Whatever.
man.
I mean, no matter. You can do whatever.
Presidential election. This is probably one of the most important elections in a long time. And, tomorrow starts the debate. We're going to see actually Joe Biden's mental fortitude because he's going to actually be there without scripts, without handlers. It's just him, Agent Orange. I haven't done the skit in a while. I got to do it again. It was brought to my attention that I haven't done it, but I think the next episode will reflect on the debate, and I can be all Donald Trump in his glory. But it's very dangerous to not take the media to task. It's very dangerous to not question something that's happening because it's from the Times or the Daily News, because it was brought to my attention that if you concentrate on something and you don't do your research, it's easily manipulated. And
I agree.
Donald Trump, my viewpoints on that man has changed drastically because a lot of his portrayal has been done kind of half-assed, and people need to focus on what he's done and look at what he's done. Look at his executive orders. What has his executive orders have been about? What is his policies? What has he implemented? What has he done? Trump's not a politician. He's not going to sit there and talk to you as a person that's going to make you feel good. No, he's going to be an asshole. It's just who he is. He's not a politician. He doesn't talk like one. So we have to do our due diligence and not follow through on what other people are saying, because they're only going to show you what they want you to see. Me and JT get into a fight, and they could paint JT as being the bad one, but in reality, I'm the one who started the shit. I'm the one that was the aggressor. JT was just defending himself, but the media would only portray me as the good guy, JT as the bad guy. When in reality, it's not the case, and that happens so often in our country. With every kind of issue, the media is only going to portray what they want you to see, whether that person is right or wrong.
Absolutely. Especially when 90% are controlled by, I believe, no quote me on this, about 4 corporations of mainstream media.
So do your due diligence, do your research, be unbiased, look at both sides of the story before you decide on what's the truth, because biggest lesson you can learn in life is that there's always two sides of a story, and the truth is always somewhere in the middle. You can't believe what one side said or the other side said, because you don't know who's telling the truth, who's the one in the right.
Right.
So that's my final thought, fellas.
Okay. So,
No.
you want to pick
Go ahead,
up?
do your thing, Jay.
I mean, Chris Ryder, very valid points to you, right, about that. Trying to make me look at as the bad guy, right? As far as like how media portrays it, because again, the media is controlled, mainstream media. And really understand like that. As far as like the corporations, yeah, it's just something that like you gotta definitely take into consideration. You know, but my final thought, real quickly, is politics to me is like almost like a soap opera. The Democrat, and the Republicans, they're going back and forth. But they have still the same agenda. You know what I mean? I really believe they still have the same agenda. And honestly, it's just kind of crazy when you put your vote into a certain political party, but they still have the same agenda behind it, though. And people falsely believe that we have a choice, but once you go to the voting machine, when I talk about the presidential election, and you pre-select someone, as soon as that person is elected, your voice of power ends. It ends. That's it. Now that person that supposedly, you press that button. I want this person to be a president. Now my voice ends now, because now that person is going to make decisions for me. You know what I'm saying? So now they make choices for us, and it's just like, to me, like I told you guys earlier, we don't live under a true democratic government. So this is why we got to definitely understand this whole political system is not a democracy. We have to really educate ourselves to really understand this. It's not a true democratic, government, and it's not until us to really, awaken ourselves, not only educate, through education, but spiritually, that we understand, what, we got to make a true change to this. And the powers are always in numbers. So not until the masses are really informed, I don't see any change happening. So even with this whole presidential debate, between Trump and Biden, not until the people are fully awake, I don't see any change happening. But hopefully people are able to really, to be more awakened by this, because Trump and Biden should be a prime example of, wow, you have these guys as your quote unquote leaders. You know what I'm saying? And that's my final thought, man. I'm not gonna elaborate more. I'm gonna leave it like that. But man.
I just want to say one quick thing before Nell goes on. It's very dangerous. I've seen on my timeline. We need to get anybody in office but Trump. That's very dangerous. So many people are so misinformed. They just want anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. It's very dangerous.
And that's a big problem right there, because people are so desperate that they're willing to put a bozo into office than to have somebody who's actually doing something, right? So real quick, man, just to start off, I would say this. If you want to get caught up in the political hysteria, you can do that. Go ahead, do that. Go vote. Become part of the little circus they want you to be a part of. But at the end of the day, guess what? Your vote does not count. Does not count. We have a system set up in this country, an institution that votes the presidents in, right? So you can go ahead, have fun with your friends, go out there, feel like you're making a big difference, but guess what? You're not. Focus on your local government. Focus on your state officials. Focus on what's going on around you that affect your everyday life. There was never a good war or ever a bad peace. That's all I'm going to leave it right there. I'm done. Then at the Roundtable Podcast every Monday at 7:30 p.m. live on YouTube, baby.
Oh,
there was never a good war or ever a bad peace.
Philosophical, like.
That's a comparable, baby, like Jesus.
Best quote we've had in the entire podcast was just there right now. Look at it. It was Socrates. It was all philosophical.
I was waiting for that one. So remember that. There was never a good war or ever a bad peace. Let that sink in, man. Then at the Roundtable Podcast, live every Monday, YouTube Live, baby.
Yes, sir.
Catch us on all the platforms. Now we're available on Amazon Music. Catch us there too if you got that Prime, baby. I know Jeff Bezos, he's tight that Then at the Roundtable is making changes in Amazon Music.
He let us on. He let us on. Like, hey,
Jeff Bezos like, fuck. Jeff Bezos was like, oh, this guy John Tavares.
They on my platform.
He's like, this guy fucking John Tavares talking about the UBI socioeconomic system, and Chris Ryder talking about butchering cows, and Nelson trying to be Suge now. Fuck these guys. But anyway, you already know. We'll be back next week, 7:30 p.m. guys. Subscribe to our channel.
Make sure you guys subscribe to our channel, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Lower right hand side. You know what I'm saying? The Roundtable Podcast, your source of knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, man. We out of here, man. You guys, Butcher, you got anything else you want to put in the mix there, little buddy?
I'm working on your official Instagram.
My official Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh man, but anyway, yeah,
Oh,
man. So
make sure that you put all your donations for Nell's hairline cash app. 87.
It's all genetics, bro. That's genetics, bro. Genetics.
We're gonna go 80.6.
It's genetics.
well, I don't need any donations for that. I get my own haircuts, buddy. All right, see ya, man. We'll see ya next week. Peace out.
Baby.
GG.
Tú eres loco. Dale más, dale más. Padre ese chap. Mena tu chap. José tu chap. Chapea tu chapa. Dale más. Y esa chap. José tu chap. Chapea tu chap. Mena tu chapa. Dale más. Y esa chap. Mena tu chap. José tu chap. Chapea tu chapa. Dale más. Me tiene activo. Esa chapa me tiene gastando efectivo. Cuando yo la miro y como se menea, me da calofrío. Yo no discrimino, la mato todita, soy un asesino. Es una mega diva, camino con ella, estoy frío. No soy un palomo, me busco lo mío, taquilla mi brillo. No hago mucho coro, ya niggas is fake, sin nada bolsillo. Ando con la ganga, my nigga be ready, somos todos de plin. La chapa está dura y si quieres llegarle, tienes que gastarle. Dale más. Y esa chap, mena tu chap, José tu chap, chapea tu chapa, dale más. Y esa chap, José tu chap, chapea tu chap, mena tu chapa, dale más. Y esa chap, mena tu chap, José tu chap, chapea tu chapa, dale más. Que lo que tú dices, menea esa chapa, chapea esa chapa y no te cotices. Que aquí te mentiremos 100, más nigga mejor ni frené. Si tú no tienes la de 100, más nigga mejor ni prender. Si tú no tienes ese puré, pero tato, esa chapa como quiera yo la agarro. Yo no soy como estos pariguayos. Se enamoran y después están dando asco. Se enamoran y gastan todos los cuartos. Yo la mato y la llamo al otro año. Es que mi mente vive facturando. En cómo yo me voy a buscar mi cuarto. Es que tú no la estás llegando. Que esa chapa es de que tiene cuarto. Me la robo y no me enamoro. Nah, nigga, yo no lloro muy a fondo. Tú eres loco, dale más. Tú eres loco, dale más. Tú eres loco, dale más. Menea. Dale más. Josea. Dale más. Chapea. Dale más. Y esa chap. Menea tu chap. Josea tu chap. Chapea tu chapa. Dale más. Y esa chap. Josea tu chap. Chapea tu chap. Menea tu chapa. Dale más. Y esa chap. Menea tu chap. Josea tu chap. Chapea tu chapa. Dale más. Padrino, nigga. Tú eres loco music.